ever notice how the spotlight can sometimes cast more shadows than light? That's the vibe folks are getting when they look at the relationship between Brandy and her daughter, Sarai Smith. From the outside, you'd think growing up as the child of a music icon would come with perks, fancy clothes, big stages, red carpets, but for Sarai, it looks like that spotlight was more of a heat lamp. Lately, she's been stepping into her own, showing off a glow-up that's hard to miss. New music, major weight loss, and finally breaking her silence. And what she's revealing? It's raising a lot of eyebrows. Not just at Brandy, but at Brandy's own mom, Sonia Norwood, too. So let's back up a bit. When Brandy got pregnant with Sarai, the media flipped. This was the same Brandy who built her whole public image on doing everything the right way, a clean, wholesome, girl-next-door persona that Disney dreams are made of. But suddenly, boom, pregnancy out of wedlock. That wasn't just tabloid fuel. It was seen as brand damage, so how did they clean it up? A surprise marriage announcement to Robert Smith, better known as Big Bert, and a whole MTV special to seal the story. But behind closed doors? Turns out there was no real wedding, no fairy tale, just a calculated PR move that even Brandy's parents were kept in the dark about. And guess who might have masterminded the cover-up? Yep, Mama Sonia allegedly had her fingerprints all over it. Now fast forward, Sarai grows up, mostly out of the limelight. Brandy rarely brings her up in interviews, barely posts about her, and fans start to wonder, where is she? The few times she does pop up, people notice something. She doesn't look like the Brandy image we've all come to expect. And that's when the whispers begin. Some say Brandy kept her out of sight because of her weight, that she didn't fit the polished Norwood aesthetic, that instead of celebrating her daughter's individuality, Brandy felt she'd be a distraction from her brand. It's heartbreaking when you think about it. Sarai was just a kid trying to figure herself out, while living in the shadow of someone who's been in the spotlight since she was a teenager. And it wasn't just the internet noticing. Sarai herself has spoken up. She's admitted that growing up in that household made her feel like an outsider. While Brandy was all about clean eating, vegan life, and gym selfies, Sarai was struggling to feel comfortable in her own body. That contrast? It was loud. She started internalizing all of it, thinking something was wrong with her, feeling like she didn't belong in her own family. And let's not forget, Sarai had real health scares. One moment she's rehearsing for a show, next thing you know, she's fainting on the stairs and waking up in a hospital bed. Doctors hit her with a wake-up call. Get it together or this could get serious. That moment changed everything. She decided to fight back. She started her weight loss journey slowly, painfully, and on her own terms, and once the transformation started, the floodgates opened. More confidence, more opportunities, and slowly, even a little healing between her and Brandy. But while fans were cheering her on, they were also asking, where was Brandy during all of this? Why wasn't she guiding her daughter through a battle she herself once faced? And that's the part that hits hardest. Because Brandy knew what it was like to be under pressure. She had her own struggles with eating disorders in the past, so why didn't she use that experience to help Sarai avoid the same pain? Why did it take so long for Sarai to feel seen? Brandy had always been praised for her grace under pressure, but that same grace often looked like silence when it came to Sarai. While the public saw a mother and daughter occasionally photographed together, insiders say there was a quiet tension between them for years. Sarai, for her part, tried to play it cool, but even her soft smiles in old clips couldn't mask the discomfort. It was in her eyes, the pressure, the comparison, the weight of being Brandy's daughter without actually being allowed to shine on her own terms. Sarai opened up in one interview about how tough it was seeing her mom dominate red carpets while she was still figuring out how to love her body. Every photo op, every glamorous outfit Brandy wore became a mirror for Sarai. Not just a physical one, but an emotional one too. She didn't just want to wear the dresses or hit the notes, she wanted to feel like she belonged in that world. And it wasn't about jealousy, it was about identity, about wondering why she always felt like the one left out of the frame. There were whispers that Sarai might have gotten surgery to help with her transformation. Liposuction, gastric procedures. Nobody could confirm it, but the change was dramatic enough for people to start speculating. And the fact that no one in the Norwood camp addressed it only added fuel to the fire. Brandy didn't post a congratulatory message, Sonia didn't show up with supportive grandma energy. The silence was deafening. For a family that had gone above and beyond to craft a perfect public image, suddenly they had nothing to say when Sarai finally came into her own. Some fans tried to justify it, saying Brandy was just being protective, that she didn't want her daughter subject to the cruelty of the internet, that she was keeping her out of the spotlight for her own good. But Sarai's words painted a different picture. She talked about feeling like she was never enough, never thin enough, never talented enough, never polished enough to stand beside her mom without feeling like the before in a before and after story. And while Brandy once opened up about her past struggles with disordered eating and image pressure, she never seemed to bridge that gap with her daughter. Maybe she thought shielding her from that world would protect her, but instead it left Sarai confused and hurt, battling those same demons in silence. Two generations of women, both crushed by expectations, but too guarded to help each other heal from them. The really wild part? Sarai wasn't just trying to lose weight, she was trying to find her voice. And once she started posting online, it was clear she had a lot to say. Her music, her candid videos, her raw honesty, they hit different. This wasn't a girl hiding behind her mom's name anymore. This was someone who'd been waiting her whole life to finally be heard. And when people started resonating with her journey, you could almost feel her stepping out of Brandy's shadow in real time. But the deeper she stepped into the light, the more cracks started to show in the Norwood legacy. The story wasn't just about a mother-daughter bond anymore, it became a reflection of how far people will go to protect an image, even if it means silencing their own blood. Fans started rewatching old interviews, picking up on things they hadn't noticed before. That awkward laugh Brandy gave when someone asked about her daughter, the tight-lipped smiles, the quick subject changes. It all started to make sense in hindsight. The thing about family is, no matter how perfect it looks on the outside, there's always more happening behind closed doors. And for the Norwoods, that glossy picture-perfect brand hid a lot of unspoken pain. Sarai spent years trying to live up to an impossible standard, one built on Brandy's fame, Sonya's control, and an industry that doesn't know how to embrace anything that doesn't fit its narrow mold. And somewhere in the middle of all that pressure, a young girl was just trying to be herself. Fans were split. Some still saw Brandy as a mother doing her best. They pointed to her history, her breakdowns, the insane pressure she was under growing up as a Black teen icon. Others weren't so forgiving. They felt like Brandy had repeated a cycle, one where image mattered more than honesty, and where silence was used to avoid accountability. The way Sarai spoke about feeling like a side character in her own life hit people hard. She wasn't asking for fame, she was asking to be acknowledged. And when she finally did start receiving that attention, it wasn't because Brandy put her on. It was because Sarai did the work. She shed the weight, not just physically, but emotionally. She faced the health scare, she found her sound, and she told her story in her own voice. And for the first time, people weren't comparing her to Brandy, they were rooting for her as Sarai. She had something real to say and people listened. Her glow up wasn't just about looks, it was about reclaiming power that had been denied to her for years. What makes this all so complicated is that Brandy didn't come off like a villain. That's what confused people the most. She was a mother who'd clearly faced her own trauma, someone who'd struggled with body image, public scrutiny, and family expectations. But instead of breaking that cycle for her daughter, she might have reinforced it, not out of cruelty, but out of fear. Fear of public judgment, fear of losing control, fear of messing up the brand. It was self-preservation dressed as protection. And then there's Sonia Norwood. She'd always been seen as the strong-willed matriarch, the manager who helped build Brandy's empire. But the whispers about her role in controlling the narrative started to get louder. The rumored fake marriage, the PR strategies, the calculated silence, it all pointed back to a woman who knew how to run a business, but maybe didn't know how to nurture vulnerability. If Brandy was a product of that system, then Sarai was its byproduct, torn between legacy and liberation. Now that Sarai's found her footing, fans are starting to hope for something deeper, not just more music or red carpet appearances, but healing. An honest sit down, a conversation that peels back the perfect image and shows the real humanity behind it. Because the truth is, Sarai's story isn't rare. There are a lot of kids out there, celebrity or not, who grow up feeling like they don't measure up to the expectations set before them. And when someone like Sarai speaks out, it reminds people they're not alone. Maybe that's the silver lining in all this. Sarai didn't just grow up in the shadow of fame, she walked through it and came out with her own light. Whether Brandy ever fully owns up to what happened or not, Sarai's taken back her narrative. She's not hiding anymore. She's not asking for permission to exist in the spotlight. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real legacy she's building. Not one of perfection, but of truth.